Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going way back in time.
Way back.
To ancient Greece. A world of epic tales and, captivating myths and legends.
The world of gods and monsters.
Exactly.
Right.
And, you've provided us with a really interesting set of sources this time around on Greek mythology.
Yes.
Excerpts from that Wikipedia article on Greek mythology.
Oh, yeah. Wikipedia, always a good place to start.
Always a solid starting point.
Solid.
And then also a peek into Theoi Greek mythology. Which is an incredible website for exploring.
It's an incredible website. Yep. It really is. Like, if you want to go deep on Greek mythology, that's the place to go.
Yeah, and that's the perfect way to describe it. It's like a portal.
It's a portal. You can get lost in there.
Yeah. And so, what we're going to do today is try to uncover the origins and the evolution and even the lasting impact of these ancient Greek stories.
The lasting impact. I like that because it's true. Yeah. They're still with us today.
Oh, yeah.
In so many ways.
They really are. So get ready for a journey through time.
Buckle up.
As we take a deep dive into the captivating realm of Greek mythology.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with maybe just the basics.
Okay.
Like, what exactly is Greek mythology?
So Greek mythology is basically, it's a collection of stories and legends that the ancient Greeks used to explain the world around them.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's really the key to understanding it, is it's their way of explaining things that they didn't have other explanations for.
So it's their version of science and history and...
Yeah, and religion, all kind of mixed together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they didn't really separate those things the way we do today.
That's fascinating.
It is.
So they used these stories to explain, like natural phenomena or like, cultural practices or even historical events that maybe they didn't fully understand.
Absolutely. Like, why are there seasons? Why is there thunder and lightning?
Right.
Where did humans come from? All these big questions that every culture grapples with.
Right.
And the Greeks had their own unique and colorful way of answering them.
And it's a mix of, like folklore and religious beliefs and even, like you said, historical events.
A lot of it is based on or inspired by actual historical events and figures.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It is.
Okay, so where did these stories come from?
We have to go back to the sources.
Okay.
And some of the most important sources are the literary works.
Okay.
The big ones, the ones that everyone's heard of, are Homer's epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Okay.
And these were these incredibly influential poems that basically shaped Greek culture.
Wow.
They told these grand stories of heroes and gods.
Right.
And they really provided the Greeks with a sense of history and identity.
And they're so full of adventure and drama and, excitement.
Absolutely. The Iliad is all about the Trojan War. This epic conflict that really captures the imagination.
Right, like the abduction of Helen.
Right. The most beautiful woman in the world and all the heroes who fight over her.
Right. And then, of course, the Odyssey follows Odysseus on his long and perilous
10-year journey home.
Yeah.
Full of trials and tribulations.
Full of monsters and all sorts of crazy stuff.
It's a classic adventure story.
Yeah, I remember reading those in school and just being, captivated.
Totally.
But we also have other sources, like you mentioned Hesiod.
Yes, Hesiod's another big one.
Okay.
He was a poet who lived around the same time as Homer.
Okay.
And he wrote a couple of really important works. One is called Theogony.
Theogony.
And it's basically the genealogy of the gods.
Oh, wow.
It tells the story of how the gods came to be.
So like a family tree, but...
Yeah, very dramatic family tree.
A lot more exciting.
Way more exciting, because you've got these power struggles and betrayals and all sorts of things going on.
Like a soap opera.
Yeah, kind of.
But with gods.
But with gods, exactly.
Okay, and then he also wrote
another work called Works and Days, which is more about human existence and morality and how to live a good life.
Okay.
And he uses myths and stories to explore those themes.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So Hesiod is a really important source for understanding Greek mythology.
And then in addition to these, epic poems, we also have plays and poetry.
Oh, yeah. Tons of plays and poetry.
Right, from ancient Greece.
Yeah, the Greeks were really into theater.
They loved their theater.
Oh, yeah, they had these huge amphitheaters.
Right.
Where they would put on these elaborate productions.
And a lot of these plays were based on myths.
Many of them were. Yeah, they would take these stories of the gods and heroes.
Right.
And they would dramatize them and use them to explore all sorts of themes and ideas.
So like the playwrights Aeschylus and Sophocles and Euripides.
Exactly. Those are the big three.
Right.
They were masters of tragedy.
Yeah.
They would write these plays that were full of, intense emotion and conflict.
And they would often use myths to
explore these universal themes.
Right, like, love and loss,
Yeah.
and fate and justice and all those
the big questions that we still grapple with today.
Absolutely. And then, in addition to these literary sources, we also have archaeological evidence.
Right, because we're not just dealing with stories here.
Right.
We're also dealing with a real culture.
A real civilization.
A real civilization that left behind physical traces.
Right.
And archaeologists have been uncovering these traces for centuries.
Okay.
And what's amazing is that a lot of the things they found actually connect back to the myths.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just stories.
I see.
It's like these stories have a basis in reality.
So like the excavations at Mycenae?
Yeah, Mycenae was a major city in ancient Greece.
Right.
And it's mentioned in a lot of the myths.
Okay.
And when archaeologists excavated Mycenae, they found all sorts of amazing things.
Like what kind of things?
Like golden masks and tombs and these massive walls.
What?
That seem to confirm some of the details that we read about in the myths.
That's really incredible.
It is.
And then the same thing with Crete, right?
Crete is another one that's really important in Greek mythology.
Right. And those excavations revealed...
They revealed these elaborate palaces.
Right.
With frescoes and all sorts of intricate artwork.
That's amazing.
And again, it kind of brings those myths to life.
It makes them feel more real.
More, yeah.
And then we also have, ancient Greek pottery.
Oh, the pottery.
Right.
It's everywhere.
Which is covered in scenes from these myths.
Yeah, you can't go to a museum without seeing a Greek vase.
Right.
With some gods or heroes on it.
Fighting monsters or
exactly.
Doing all sorts of...
And what's cool is that sometimes these depictions on the pottery actually predate the written accounts.
Oh, wow.
So it gives us a glimpse into how the Greeks were visualizing these stories even before they were writing them down.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's like a visual record of their mythology.
It's really incredible. Okay, so now that we kind of have a sense of where these stories came from, I think it'd be fun to kind of embark on a chronological journey through the world of Greek mythology.
Let's do it.
So, where do we begin?
Well, it all begins with the creation myths.
Okay.
We have to start at the beginning.
At the very beginning.
With the origins of the universe.
Okay.
And the Greek creation myths are full of primordial chaos and epic battles between titans and gods.
Oh, wow.
It's really dramatic stuff.
Okay, so paint a picture for me. What?
Okay, so imagine a world where there's nothing but darkness and void.
Okay.
And then out of this void emerges Gaia. The earth.
Okay.
And Gaia gives birth to Uranus. The sky.
Wow.
And together they create the Titans. These powerful primordial beings.
Okay.
But their rule is challenged by their own children.
Oh, wow.
The Olympians. Led by Zeus. And this clash between the Titans and the Olympians is really the foundation of the entire Greek pantheon.
So it's this cosmic battle for supremacy.
Absolutely. It's like a war of the gods.
That's amazing.
Right.
And ultimately Zeus
wins.
King of the gods.
He becomes the king of the gods.
Right.
He establishes order.
Okay.
He overthrows the Titans and establishes a new order.
So this is like the very foundation.
The foundation.
Your foundation.
Foundation of the cosmos, as the Greeks understood it.
Okay, that's fascinating.
And from there, we move into a period where gods and mortals interact more freely.
Oh, okay.
This is where we get those really juicy stories. Yeah, full of forbidden love. And divine punishment.
And also, important cultural elements.
Right, because the gods are constantly intervening in human affairs.
I see.
They're meddling. They're shaping destinies.
Right, like you have Prometheus,
yes.
who stole fire from the gods.
He's the classic rebel.
Right.
He's the one who brings fire to humanity.
And he's punished for it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He's chained to a rock.
Right.
And an eagle eats his liver every day.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's a pretty gruesome punishment.
But also a really important myth.
It is.
Right? Because it shows
It shows the consequences of defying the gods.
Right.
But it also kind of celebrates human ingenuity.
Oh, I see.
And our desire for knowledge.
So Prometheus is kind of like a hero.
He's a complex figure.
Right.
He's both a rebel and a benefactor.
Right.
He's a trickster.
Right. He's like a trickster figure.
Yeah, he's trying to outsmart the gods.
Right.
And he does to some extent, but he also pays a price for it.
That's fascinating. And then you also have the story of Demeter
and
Persephone,
yeah.
which explains
The seasons.
Right, like the changing seasons.
Exactly. Demeter is the goddess of agriculture.
Okay.
And her daughter, Persephone, is abducted by Hades.
Hades.
The god of the underworld.
Okay.
And Demeter is so heartbroken that she basically stops the earth from growing anything.
Wow.
She's grieving.
She's grieving.
And that causes winter.
Oh, why?
And then eventually, Zeus intervenes and works out a deal.
Okay.
Where Persephone spends part of the year with Hades and part of the year with her mother.
So that's how they explain.
That's how they explain the cycle of the seasons.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
It is. It's a really beautiful and tragic myth.
It is.
And it shows how closely connected the Greeks saw the natural world.
Right.
With the divine realm.
And also how, like, human emotions can even affect.
Exactly. The gods are not separate from human emotion.
Right.
They experience love and loss and grief and anger.
Right.
Just like we do.
Okay, that's amazing. And now, did the ancient Greeks really believe these stories literally?
That's a great question. And it's one that scholars have been debating for centuries.
Right.
It's probably a mix of both.
Okay.
They certainly saw these stories as part of their history.
Okay.
A way to explain the world.
Right.
And their place in it.
Okay.
But they also use them to explore deeper truths.
Deeper truths.
About human nature.
Okay.
About the consequences of our actions.
Right.
And about the mysteries of fate.
So they're not just taking them literally.
Not necessarily, no.
They're also seeing them as
metaphors.
Metaphors.
For human experiences.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, the story of Prometheus stealing fire.
Right.
Could be seen as a metaphor for our own pursuit of knowledge.
Right.
Even if it comes at a cost.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's not just about the literal act of stealing fire.
Right.
It's about the deeper meaning behind it.
I see. Okay.
And then you have stories like the Odyssey, which is all about this long and perilous journey.
Right.
But it's also a metaphor for the journey of life.
Oh, wow.
The challenges we face.
Right.
The temptations we encounter.
Right.
The obstacles we have to overcome.
And ultimately the goal of reaching home.
Yeah, of finding our way back to ourselves.
Wow. Okay. That's really fascinating.
So yeah, it's a mix of literal and metaphorical interpretations.
It's really amazing how these ancient stories can still feel so relevant today.
Right, you really do.
Okay, so we have this period of like gods and mortals interacting.
Intermingling.
Right.
Yeah, getting up to all sorts of mischief.
Okay, and then
we move into the heroic age.
The heroic age.
The age of legendary figures like Heracles and Theseus
and Jason
and the Argonauts.
Right, all embarking on these daring quests.
Yeah.
Battling terrifying monsters.
Yeah, it's the age of epic adventures.
And heroic deeds.
Exactly.
Right? Like Heracles' 12 labors.
The 12 labors of Heracles, yeah. Each one more challenging than the last.
Right.
He's got to slay the Nemean lion.
Right.
He's got to capture the Erymanthian boar.
Yeah.
He's got to clean the Augean stables.
The Augean stables, that's a good word.
Which is no easy feat.
No kidding.
I mean, those stables were filthy.
Yeah.
It's a classic laboring.
Yeah. And what do you think makes these heroic tales so enduring?
I think it's because they tap into our own desires.
Our own desire.
For courage and strength.
Okay.
And the triumph of good over evil.
Right.
These heroes, they're flawed.
They're flawed.
They make mistakes.
Okay.
They face impossible odds.
Okay.
But they never give up.
Right.
And they inspire us to confront our own challenges.
Our own challenges.
And strive for greatness.
I like that, strive for greatness.
Yeah, it's like they show us that even in the face of adversity, we can overcome obstacles.
Right.
And achieve extraordinary things.
I love that. Yeah, it's really inspiring.
It is.
And this heroic age ultimately leads us to what's arguably the most famous
event
in Greek mythology.
The Trojan War.
The Trojan War.
The big one.
A big one.
This is where gods and mortals collide on a grand scale.
Oh, wow.
A conflict that spans a decade. And shapes the destinies of countless heroes.
Wow. Okay, so give me the rundown, like how...
Okay, so it all starts with the judgment of Paris.
The judgment of Paris.
Right. Paris, this Trojan prince, is asked to judge a beauty contest.
A beauty contest.
Between three goddesses, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite.
Okay.
And each goddess offers him a bribe.
A bribe.
Hera offers him power.
Okay.
Athena offers him wisdom.
Okay.
And Aphrodite offers him the most beautiful woman in the world.
Helen.
Right. And Paris, being a young man, chooses Aphrodite.
He goes for the
beauty.
Okay.
And that sets off a chain of events.
Wow.
That leads to the Trojan War.
Because Helen is already married?
Helena's already married to Menelaus.
Right, the king of Sparta.
The king of Sparta.
Right.
So Paris basically abducts Helen.
He steals her away.
Steals her away to Troy.
And that's what starts the war.
And that's what sparks the war.
Wow, that's a great example of how, like,
right.
even seemingly small choices can have massive repercussions, ripple effects. It's like the butterfly effect.
Right.
One little decision
can change the course of history.
Can change the course of history.
Wow.
And the Trojan War is full of tragedy and loss.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of the cyclical nature of conflict, the allure of glory, and the profound consequences of human actions.
Even for those who seem invincible.
Exactly. No one escapes unscathed.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
We've journeyed from the creation of the universe.
The very beginning to the epic battle.
To the epic battles.
Of the Trojan War.
And everything in between.
All through this lens of these fascinating myths.
Yes.
And it's incredible how much these stories reveal.
It is.
About the ancient Greeks.
Right.
And their understanding of the world.
Their worldview, their values, their beliefs.
It's like a window into
their
culture.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
It's a rich tapestry.
It really is.
And we've just scratched the surface.
We've only just begun.
There's so much more to explore.
I can't wait to delve deeper.
Let's do it.
You know, as we're talking about all these stories and all these, like, you know, epic battles and these heroes and these gods.
Yeah.
I'm realizing there's like a whole other layer to these myths.
The deeper level.
Yeah. It's not just about the content of the stories. It's also about the way they're structured.
Exactly.
Like, how are these stories put together?
How do they work?
Yeah. What makes them so memorable and enduring?
Well, one key element is this idea of mythological cycles.
Mythological cycles?
Yeah. So think of it like this. You've got these clusters of stories that revolve around a central hero or event. And these cycles, they create a sense of continuity and depth.
I see.
They allow the myths to build upon each other.
So it's not just a random collection of tales?
No, it's more like a tapestry.
The tapestry.
Where all these different threads are woven together.
Oh, okay.
To create a larger, more meaningful picture.
So you have these, like, you know, mini-series almost.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Within the larger narrative.
Okay, that's really interesting.
And within these cycles, you'll notice these recurring patterns.
Okay.
These motifs that pop up again and again.
Okay.
And these motifs, they add depth and meaning.
Okay.
They allow the myths to speak to universal human experiences.
Oh, I like that, universal human experiences.
Yeah, because these stories, they're not just about ancient Greece.
Right.
They're about the human condition.
Right.
They're about the things that we all grapple with.
I see. Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so one classic motif is the journey.
The journey.
Right. Think about Odysseus's epic voyage home in the Odyssey.
Okay.
Or Jason and the Argonauts setting sail in search of the Golden Fleece.
Right.
These are journeys that are full of adventure and peril.
Yeah.
But they're also metaphors for the journeys that we all take in life.
Oh, I see.
The challenges we face.
Okay.
The transformations we undergo. And ultimately, the goal of reaching our destination.
Yeah, whether that's a physical destination or a metaphorical one.
Wow. Okay, so the journey becomes a symbol for like personal growth.
Yeah.
And transformation.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And then you have the motif of the test.
The test.
Right. Heroes are constantly being put to the test in Greek mythology.
Oh, yeah. They're always
facing some impossible challenge.
Right. Like Heracles with his 12 labors.
Exactly. Or Perseus confronting Medusa.
Or Theseus navigating the labyrinth.
Yes. All these trials. They reveal the hero's character.
Okay.
Their courage, their resilience, their cunning.
And they always seem impossible at first.
Right. They seem insurmountable.
But somehow the hero finds a way.
They find a way.
To succeed.
To overcome the obstacle.
Is that meant to inspire us?
I think so.
To face our own challenges?
Yeah, to show us that even when things seem hopeless,
right,
there's always a way.
There's always a way if you're resourceful enough or...
If you're brave enough, if you're clever enough.
If you have help.
Right. Sometimes you need help.
Sometimes you need the gods.
Sometimes you need the gods.
To intervene.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And then there's a motif that always sends chills down my spine.
Okay.
The descent into the underworld.
Oh, the underworld.
Yeah, this is a big one. Yeah. Stories like Orpheus trying to rescue Eurydice.
Orpheus and Eurydice.
Yeah, or Demeter searching for Persephone.
Right.
These are journeys into the darkest parts of ourselves.
Wow.
A confrontation with death and the unknown.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a symbolic death and rebirth.
Oh, I see.
The hero has to face their fears
and
confront their own mortality
in
order to come back transformed.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just a physical journey.
No. A psychological journey.
It's a psychological journey.
It's a spiritual journey.
It's about facing your
demons.
Okay.
Your shadow self.
Okay. That's really powerful.
It is. It's a really powerful motif.
Huh. Okay, so we've got journeys. Tests into the underworld. What else is there?
Well, we can't forget the trickster.
The trickster.
Right? Every mythology has a trickster figure.
Okay.
And in Greek mythology, it's Hermes. The messenger god.
Okay.
He's known for his cunning and his wit.
Right.
His ability to bend the rules.
Okay.
And outsmart everyone.
So he's kind of like a mischievous figure.
Yeah, he's mischievous, but he's also clever.
Okay.
And he often provides comic relief.
Oh.
But he also reveals the complexities of human nature.
Oh, I see.
Like we all have a little bit of Hermes in us.
Right, like that desire to...
Yeah, to kind of...
get away with something.
Yeah, to bend the rules a little bit.
Or to outsmart someone.
Well, exactly.
Okay, I like that. And then
there's transformation.
Right.
Metamorphosis is a recurring theme in Greek mythology.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of shapeshifting going on.
Tons of shapeshifting.
Right. Like Zeus is always turning into...
Zeus is notorious for that.
Animals and...
Yeah, he's always trying to seduce mortals
right.
by taking on different forms.
And then you have the story of Narcissus.
Yeah.
Who transforms into a flower.
Exactly. He's so obsessed with his own beauty.
Right.
That he literally turns into a flower.
Right.
So it's a story about vanity.
Right.
And self-absorption.
And the dangers
of being too focused on yourself.
Wow. Okay, so all these motifs, these recurring patterns.
They add depth and meaning.
They make the myths more
complex.
More layered. Yeah.
There's the surface narrative.
Okay.
The exciting adventures.
Right.
But then there's this deeper level of symbolism and thematic resonance.
It's like each myth is a puzzle box.
I like that. A puzzle box.
Waiting to be unlocked and explored.
And the more you delve into these stories, the more you realize there's sophistication and artistry.
It's like learning a secret language. Unlocking these hidden
layers of meaning.
Yeah. Okay. So beyond these, structural elements.
Right.
What are some of the key takeaways? What can we glean from these ancient stories?
What wisdom can they offer us in the modern world?
Yeah.
Well, one important lesson is the importance of understanding our place within a larger cosmos.
Okay.
Greek mythology reminds us that we are part of a complex web of relationships.
Okay.
We're interconnected with nature, with the divine,
right,
and with each other.
It's not all about us.
It's not about us exactly.
Okay.
It's a call for humility. A recognition that we're not the center of the universe.
That's a good reminder, especially in today's world.
Right, where it's so easy to get caught up in our own little bubbles.
Right, our own little drama.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it also emphasizes the power of storytelling itself.
Oh, yeah, storytelling.
Right, these myths, they've captivated audiences for millennia. They demonstrate the enduring ability of stories to shape our understanding of the world.
Right.
To transmit knowledge.
Okay.
And to inspire the imagination.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like stories are more than just entertainment.
More than entertainment.
They're essential to the human experience.
Oh, I like that.
They teach us about ourselves.
Oh,
they offer moral guidance.
Right.
And they help us make sense of the complexities of life.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is.
Okay.
And finally, Greek mythology reminds us of the cyclical nature of time.
The cyclical nature of time.
Yeah, the interplay of creation and destruction.
Okay.
And the enduring themes of love loss and the human struggle against fate.
Wow. It's incredible how these ancient concepts still resonate so deeply today.
They do.
I mean, we may have smartphones and spaceships, but we still grapple with the same fundamental questions.
Absolutely.
About life and death and our place in the universe.
The big questions. Yeah. The ones that have been haunting us since the beginning of time.
Right.
And the Greeks, they wrestled with these questions.
Yeah.
Through their myths.
Through their stories.
And by engaging with those stories.
Yeah.
We can gain a richer understanding.
Of ourselves.
And the world.
Of the world.
And of the enduring power of myth.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of resources.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier Theoi Greek mythology.
Theoi, yeah.
That website.
It's a fantastic resource.
Okay, so what makes it so great?
Well, it's like a digital encyclopedia.
Oh, okay.
Of Greek mythology.
Okay.
It's meticulously curated.
Okay.
And incredibly user-friendly. You can find information on all the gods and heroes.
Right.
And monsters and mythological concepts.
Okay.
Complete with excerpts from original texts.
Oh.
And stunning visual representation.
Visual representation.
Yeah. From ancient art.
So it's not just like a dry collection of facts.
No, it's very visually appealing. It's engaging.
It's like a portal.
It's a portal.
To a vibrant and fascinating world.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And for those who want to really immerse themselves.
Yeah.
It also includes a library of classical texts.
Oh, wow.
So you can actually read the original sources.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like the perfect companion.
It is.
For anyone who's, whether you're a seasoned scholar or just starting to explore Greek mythology.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So if you're interested in learning more about this stuff, definitely check out Theoi.
Theoi. Okay.
It's a great resource.
Cool. Now you mentioned monsters earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's time we unleash the beasts.
Let's do it.
Like, get ready to encounter terrifying creatures and wondrous beings.
A whole menagerie of mythical creatures.
Exactly. Each one embodying symbolic meanings.
Right.
And adding to the richness of the Greek mythos.
Absolutely.
So from the depths of the underworld.
The underworld.
To the soaring heights of Mount Olympus.
Mount Olympus.
Prepare to enter a realm where reality and fantasy intertwine.
It's going to be a wild ride.
I'm excited.
Okay, so let's start with the monsters.
Okay.
The creatures that lurk in the shadows of Greek mythology.
Okay.
These creatures, they often represent the darker aspects of human nature.
Oh, okay.
The perils that we face in the world.
The things that we're afraid of.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, for example, you have Medusa.
Medusa.
With her serpent hair.
Right.
And her gaze that can turn men to stone.
Oh, yeah, she's terrifying.
She is.
And she represents
the dangers of envy and rage.
Okay.
The destructive power of the feminine.
Oh, wow.
She's a complex figure.
Yeah, I always found her story to be really interesting because she's a monster, but she's also a victim.
She is a victim.
Right, she was cursed by the gods. So it makes you wonder if she was truly evil.
Or just misunderstood. Yeah, it's a good question.
And it's interesting how many of these monsters are not just one-dimensional villains.
They have backstories.
Right.
They have motivations.
Right.
They're more complex than that.
Okay, so another example.
The Minotaur.
The Minotaur.
The creature with the head of a bull.
Right.
And the body of a man.
Trapped in the labyrinth.
That's
a creepy story.
It is.
What does the Minotaur represent?
Well, he embodies the primal, untamed aspects of our nature.
Okay.
The challenges of navigating the complexities of life.
Oh, I see.
The labyrinth itself.
The labyrinth
can be seen as a metaphor.
A metaphor.
For the twists and turns that we face on our own journeys.
Wow, so it's not just a physical maze?
No, it's a psychological maze.
It's a metaphor for life.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you have Typhon. The father of all monsters.
Oh, wow.
This guy is terrifying.
Okay.
He's a serpentine creature.
Okay.
With like 100 heads.
100 heads?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he challenged the gods.
Yeah, challenged the gods.
He was like the ultimate.
He was the ultimate threat.
Threat to the cosmic order.
To the order of the universe.
Wow, so he represents like chaos and destruction.
Chaos, destruction. The forces that threaten to unravel everything.
Wow, that's intense.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, so those are some of the monsters.
Some of the big ones.
Right, but Greek mythology is not just about darkness and fear.
Well,
there are also these wondrous creatures
that
inspire awe and wonder.
Absolutely.
Right, like Pegasus?
Pegasus, the winged horse.
A winged horse.
Symbolizing inspiration.
Okay.
Freedom, the power of imagination.
Oh, yeah.
He's often associated with the muses.
The
goddesses of creativity.
Right.
So imagine soaring through the skies on the back of Pegasus.
That's a beautiful image.
It is.
It makes you want to write poetry or paint a masterpiece.
Exactly.
Or compose music.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
you have the nymphs.
The nymphs?
These ethereal beings.
Okay.
Who embody the beauty and power of nature.
Oh, okay.
You have the naiads who dwell in springs and rivers.
Okay.
The dryads, who are spirits of the trees.
Okay.
And the nereids, who inhabit the depths of the sea.
So each one is kind of connected to
a different aspect of nature.
Yeah. And they represent like the
magic.
The
wonder.
The beauty.
Of the natural world.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you have creatures that kind of defy easy categorization.
Okay.
Like centaurs. With their human torsos and equine bodies.
Right. They're half human, half horse.
Half human, half horse.
I always found them fascinating.
Yeah. They're interesting.
What do you think they represent?
Well, they seem to embody the duality of human nature.
Okay.
our capacity for both reason and instinct,
Right.
the rational and the animalistic.
Right, that constant struggle.
A struggle.
Between our higher and lower selves.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these monsters.
Monsters.
Wondrous creatures.
Endless creatures.
And everything in between.
And everything in between.
And each one adds.
Yeah, to the richness and complexity
of Greek mythology.
And it's like, they're not just mythological figures. They're reflections of ourselves.
Yeah.
Our hopes, our fears.
Our hopes, our fears, our desires.
Our attempts to understand.
Our place in the universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond their symbolic meanings,
okay,
what role do these creatures actually play in the narratives of Greek mythology?
Well, they often serve as catalysts for action.
Catalysts for action.
Yeah, they drive the plot forward.
Okay.
They create challenges for heroes to overcome.
So like the Hydra?
The Hydra?
That Heracles had to slay?
Right, one of his 12 laborers.
Yes.
Or the fearsome Cerberus guarding the entrance to the Underworld.
Right.
Those are classic examples.
And sometimes these creatures are even instrumental in the creation
of heroes themselves.
Right, like the Gorgon Medusa when Perseus slays her.
Yeah.
The winged horse Pegasus springs forth from her blood.
So it's like the death of one creature
gives birth to another.
And in other instances, these creatures serve as companions or guides.
Oh, okay. So they can be helpers.
They can be helpers.
Right.
Offering aid and wisdom.
Like the centaur, Chiron.
Chiron, yeah. Who was a mentor.
He was a wise centaur.
To a lot of heroes.
He mentored Heracles and Achilles and Jason.
Wow. That's interesting. So they can be both antagonists and allies.
Right.
These creatures.
You can help you or they can hinder you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really cool.
So you see these mythical creatures.
Yeah.
They're not just fantastical additions to the stories.
They're integral components.
It drive the narrative.
Shape destiny.
And they enrich the tapestry of Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's all connected.
It's all connected.
It all fits together.
Like we're piecing together this giant jigsaw puzzle.
Exactly.
With each element adding to
the richness and complexity.
The richness, the complexity, the beauty of the overall picture.
And that's the beauty of Greek mythology.
It is, right?
It's multifaceted.
Multifaceted world.
Full of surprises and insights.
It's not just a collection of stories. It's a reflection. Of the human condition.
Exactly.
Exploring these universal themes. That continue to resonate with us today.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we prepare to kind of embark on the final part.
The final chapter.
Of our deep dive.
Okay.
Let's shift our focus. The legacy of Greek mythology.
Legacy.
Right. How have these ancient stories shaped Western civilization?
How are they still with us?
And what is their continuing relevance?
Their relevance.
In the modern world.
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to appreciate these stories as ancient artifacts.
Right.
But it's another thing to understand.
To understand how they're still alive.
Alive today.
How they still influence us.
Yeah.
In ways that we might not even realize.
Okay, so we're going to uncover
the
footprints
of these ancient tales across the landscape of human history.
Let's do it.
You know, it's incredible to think that these stories that were born thousands of years ago still have so much power today.
They really do.
You know, we've explored the origins, the structure, the heroes, the monsters. It's like opening this treasure chest.
A treasure chest.
Full of these captivating tales and hidden meanings.
Absolutely. And now it's time to see how that treasure chest has influenced Western civilization.
Right.
Because Greek mythology isn't just something you study in school. Yeah. It's woven into the very fabric of our culture.
Yeah.
From art and literature to philosophy and even psychology.
Okay, let's start with art and literature.
Okay.
I can definitely see how Greek myths have inspired artists and writers throughout history.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, just think of Michelangelo's David.
Okay.
A masterpiece of Renaissance sculpture.
Yeah.
That captures the strength and heroism of this mythical figure.
Right.
Or Botticelli's Birth of Venus.
Oh, yeah.
A painting that brings the goddess of love to life.
Right.
With incredible beauty and grace.
I've always been drawn to those paintings that depict scenes from Greek mythology.
Yeah.
They're so full of drama and emotion.
They are.
It's like stepping into another world.
Exactly.
And then you have literature.
Literature, oh yeah.
We've already talked about Homer's epics.
Right.
But the influence of Greek mythology extends far beyond that.
Oh yeah. I mean, Roman poets like Ovid and Virgil.
Okay.
They reinterpreted Greek myths.
Oh, okay.
For their own audiences.
Right.
Breathing new life into these ancient tales.
Right.
And even Shakespeare. The greatest playwright of all time.
Right.
He drew upon these myths.
He did.
In plays like Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer Night's Dream,
Okay.
The Tempest.
Wow. It's amazing to see how these stories have been adapted and reimagined across different cultures and time periods.
Absolutely.
They seem to provide a universal language.
Yeah.
A way of connecting with shared human experience.
Shared human experiences, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what makes them so enduring.
Right. Because they speak to something deep within us.
Right.
Regardless of our background or beliefs.
Okay, so we have art and literature.
Okay.
But you also mentioned philosophy and psychology.
Yes.
How did Greek myths influence those fields?
Well, for the ancient Greeks, there wasn't really a separation between myth and philosophy.
Okay.
The myths were a way of exploring fundamental questions about the nature of the universe, morality, the human condition, thinkers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. They engaged with these myths. They reinterpreted them. And they used them to grapple with profound philosophical concepts.
So these weren't just stories for entertainment.
They were tools.
For thinking.
For exploring.
For exploring the big questions.
The big questions about...
Like life, the meaning of existence.
The meaning of existence, exactly.
And in the field of psychology, figures like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, they drew heavily upon Greek mythology.
You understand the workings.
The working
of the unconscious mind.
Oh, wow.
They saw these ancient stories as a window.
A window.
Into the human psyche.
Oh, wow.
Revealing our deepest desires.
Okay.
Fears.
Motivations. The myths are like a roadmap.
A roadmap.
To understanding ourselves. A way of tapping into universal patterns.
For human behavior.
Of human behavior, exactly. Wow. And even in our everyday language.
Oh, yeah.
We constantly encounter words and phrases.
They have their roots in Greek mythology.
Right, like...
Achilles' heel. Which refers to a point of vulnerability. Or Herculean task. Meaning a challenging endeavor. Or Pandora's box. A source of troubles and misfortunes.
It's incredible how these ancient stories have permeated our language.
They're everywhere.
And continue to shape the way we think and speak.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that brings us to this crucial question.
Okay.
What makes these myths so relevant to our lives today?
Why should we care?
Yeah, how can stories from thousands of years ago speak to the challenges and complexities of the modern world?
Well, it's a good question because we live in a world of technology and globalization.
A far cry from the world of ancient Greece.
Very different. But
the human experience doesn't change that much.
Not really.
We still grapple with the same fundamental question about love,
loss,
betrayal, vengeance,
the search for meaning, the struggle against fate. These are universal themes that transcend time and cultural boundaries.
They're timeless.
So the myths provide a framework for understanding these timeless challenges.
Exactly. They offer a way of connecting with the experiences of
those who came before us.
Reminding us that we're not alone.
We're not alone in our struggles. Exactly.
Okay. And beyond these universal themes, Greek mythology also offers specific lessons that are applicable
to our modern lives.
Like, for example, the myth of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun and fell to his death.
Classic cautionary tale.
What's the modern day takeaway?
Well, I think it's a reminder that even with the best of intentions, we need to temper our aspirations with prudence and a recognition of our own limitations. Too much ambition without a healthy dose of humility can lead to disastrous consequences.
It's like the saying, pride comes before the fall.
Exactly.
And then there's the myth of Sisyphus. Who is condemned to eternally push a boulder up a hill. Only to have it roll back down.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
That always struck me as such a bleak and hopeless story.
Yeah. Seems that way.
Like, what can we possibly learn?
What can we learn
from Sisyphus?
Well, I think it's a powerful metaphor
Okay.
for the human struggle
Okay.
against the absurdity of existence.
Of existence.
It reminds us that life
Right.
can be full of frustrations,
Frustrations.
setbacks,
Okay.
that sometimes our efforts,
seem futile.
but it also highlights the importance,
It does.
perseverance,
Perseverance.
of finding meaning
Meaning
in the struggle itself.
in the struggle itself. Exactly.
Wow, that's a surprisingly uplifting interpretation.
It's not all doom and gloom.
Of a seemingly depressing myth.
There's hope.
And then you have myths like King Midas,
who
wished for everything he touched to turn to gold.
Be careful what you wish for.
Right. Only to realize
Yeah.
that his greed had trapped him in a gilded cage.
A gilded cage.
Right.
It's a classic cautionary tale about the dangers of materialism. And the importance of appreciating the true value of things, like human connection. Love.
Purpose. Those are the things that really matter.
Okay, and speaking of purpose, the myth of Heracles, who undertook 12 seemingly impossible labor, reminds us
that we all have
our
challenges to overcome, our own journeys,
our own discovery
and growth.
Right.
It's a hero's journey.
Yeah, and it's inspiring to think
It is.
that even a demigod like Heracles faced
seemingly insurmountable obstacles.
Yet he found the strength. He persevered.
To persevere and ultimately
triumph. He's a role model.
Yeah, and perhaps most importantly, Greek mythology reminds us of the power of
storytelling
itself.
Right.
These ancient tales, they've captivated audiences for millennia, proving that stories have the ability to transcend time. To connect us. To our shared humanity. And to offer timeless wisdom. And inspiration.
Like we're all part of one giant narrative. A story that stretches back. To the dawn of civilization. And continues to unfold today.
And we're all characters in that story.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Greek mythology,
this amazing world,
I'm left with a sense of awe at the richness and depth. Of these stories.
It's incredible.
They're not just relics of the past.
No.
They're living narratives. That continue to shape our culture. Our thoughts. And our understanding of the world. It's really amazing.
It is. And I encourage you, dear listener, to keep exploring. This fascinating world. Delve into the myths.
Okay.
Engage with the characters.
Okay.
Ponder the themes.
Right.
And discover the ways in which these ancient tales can enrich your understanding of yourself. The world. And the enduring power of storytelling. Because these stories, they have something to teach us.
They do.
They have wisdom to offer.
They're full of wisdom.
And they can inspire us.
Yeah.
To live more meaningful lives.
Yeah. The myths of ancient Greece.
Yeah.
They're not just echoes of the past.
No.
They're whispers of wisdom. That can guide us. On our own modern journeys.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
On this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking.
Keep questioning.
And keep exploring.